The world is within walking distance, yet within walking distance is a world away. Living in a metropolitan city in the US, I find that my neighbors seem to come from different parts of the world. So far, I know the family to my back is from this area originally. The family to my left is from the Middle East. I'm not sure about the family to my right, and I have never met the neighbors living across the street. When we meet occasionally, we simply wave at each other and say hi with a smile. As a result, I don't know much about them in terms of their jobs, their families, or their personalities. After living here for over 10 years, it took an enormous earthquake to finally have a chance to see most of the neighbors. Days after the earthquake, the trash truck couldn't drive through the small alley behind the houses, where the trash usually gets picked up, and the neighbors had to push their trash bins by the sidewalk near the mission. That was when I finally knew how my neighbors looked like. Now that 7 or 8 years have passed since the earthquake, again, I have lost count of how many families have moved in and out of my neighborhood. When I come to think of it sometimes, I find that I have no idea what's going on in my neighbors' homes, even though they just live beyond our backyard. It seems like even within a walking distance, our neighbors are still a world away. At the same time, after immigrating from Taiwan, living in a foreign country, we get homesick every so often. We care about Taiwanese news, watch Chinese language television shows, understand Taiwanese societal changes, and often keep in touch with friends and family in Taiwan. Even though we are separated from Taiwan by the Pacific Ocean, we still know what's going on in our hometown very well. We are especially familiar with all the details when it comes to our close friends and family. It seems like even though we are a world apart from our hometown, it feels like we are within walking distance to it. Why is it so? This is cause and condition. If the condition is right, even if people are a world apart, they can still feel like they are within walking distance to each other. If the condition is not right, even if they are only a few feet away, they still will not recognize each other. To an uncultivated sentient being, or someone who has just started to learn about Buddhism, learning about cultivation, liberation, and enlightenment seems to be a world away from actual understanding. We used to hear from our Venerable Master Shankai that all of us can be liberated. When one is liberated, then he or she will know liberation is not far from the rest of us. Unfortunately, sentient beings are blinded by their own minds, and therefore cannot comprehend those concepts. When hearing about being liberated, everyone interprets it based on their own imagination. People often imagine a very peaceful environment in a faraway place. Therefore, they often ask the master about where to seek liberation. Actually, it is all-encompassing, uninfluenced by time and space. It's too bad that people don't recognize it. It's another example of being within walking distance, yet a world away. All the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas have already attained enlightenment and are liberated. They know pure awareness is all-encompassing, and that pure awareness is of empty nature, which has no impediments or interference. Therefore, all worlds and all things are right in front of their eyes, which is another example of being a world away yet within walking distance. Sentient beings are confused by their own ignorance and delusional minds. They can't understand or recognize liberation. Buddhas and Bodhisattvas are not bound by ignorant minds and have unfolded their pure awareness. They know liberation has no physical space, no center from anywhere, no big or small, no near or far. Therefore, a world apart is only within walking distance. We used to hear from Venerable Master Shenkai, quote, "When reaching the understanding that another world is right in front of your eyes, then you have cultivated to Buddhahood," unquote. At that time, I didn't understand it completely, thinking that Buddhas and Bodhisattvas are omnipotent and have superpowers. They're able to transfer other worlds to be in front of their eyes. After learning Buddha's teachings and cultivation, I realized it wasn't some kind of superpower. Sentient beings' minds are obscured by delusions. They think based on their own imagination and are not able to truly comprehend. If cultivated to a level when one is no longer bound by his or her mind, then pure awareness will enable them to perceive that everything is illusory. Using pure awareness, one would know this is not some kind of superpower at all. I hope everyone diligently cultivates so that all can attain enlightenment soon. Once enlightened, then we will know that everything, even if it seems like a world away, is only within walking distance. Do not be like
the common sentient beings,
grasping and attaching unto their own thoughts and egos, for the result will be a state in which everything that's only a few steps away feels like a world apart.